The moment Ryan Qureshi stepped out of the metro station into the sharp clarity of the morning sun, his phone buzzed with the final confirmation he had waited months for: the interview at Arkwell Industries, the chance to change his entire life, the doorway out of debt, struggle, and endless rejection. Yet within the very same heartbeat his eyes caught something that made time stretch painfully thin. A young woman collapsing on the pavement a few steps ahead, her notebook scattering, her face pale against the unforgiving brightness of day, and in that trembling instant he stood torn between the future he prayed for and a stranger who needed him more than anyone else ever had. If you believe that kindness deserves second chances and that small decisions can shape the greatest destinies, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Light of Kindness, because stories like this remind us why humanity still matters. Ryan had never imagined his morning would spiral into something so deeply defining. He had woken before dawn, buttoned his only pressed shirt with hands that barely stopped shaking, and whispered silent prayers while the sun painted soft gold over aging rooftops and sleepy streets. His life had been a chain of modest hopes and larger disappointments, a mother struggling to keep their small home running, unpaid bills stacked carefully as if pretending order could erase the worry beneath them, and a steady feeling that time was slipping away faster than opportunity ever arrived. Arkwell Industries was not just an interview, it was a miracle waiting to happen, a position that could finally lift them into stability. Yet as he rushed forward and saw the girl attempt weakly to rise, her eyes unfocused and her breath shallow, instinct crushed every calculation he had made. He knelt beside her, shielding her from the hard blazing sun, offering water, flagging passers-by, ignoring the impatient glances and the ticking clock that screamed his name. The world moved on, but Ryan remained rooted to that sidewalk. He supported her trembling form as strangers finally assisted, called for help, and steadied her until color slowly returned to her face. Her name, he learned softly from her bag, was Mira, though she spoke very little, only a faint expression of gratitude and confusion. Paramedics arrived, their siren echoing through the avenue, and he made sure she could stand, ensured she was safe, and watched as she was guided into proper care, his own opportunity fading with every passing minute. By the time he reached the towering glass structure of Arkwell Industries, sunlight blazing high now instead of the hopeful early glow, the receptionist's polite expression turned to dismissive regret, and the chance he had labored for evaporated into thin air with no consideration for the sacrifice behind it. He walked away under the vast open sky where the day felt heavier, the bright blue above mocking his silent endurance. The streets seemed louder, the laughter around him more hollow, and every step echoed the loss he had just endured. There was no dramatic outburst, no collapse of will, only a slow ache blooming in his chest as he returned home, greeted by the scent of simmering tea and the tired yet gentle smile of his mother. He did not tell her the whole truth, only that the interview had not gone well, that perhaps destiny had other plans, but as the light filtered through their dusty window and rested on his slumped shoulders, she touched his hand and reminded him that goodness never vanishes, even when it seems invisible. Days passed in a routine of silence and searching, job applications met with automated refusals, empty inboxes, and the same harsh midday sun reminding him of that pivotal morning. Yet something strange began to stir beneath the surface of his quiet resignation. He could not forget Mira's fragile expression, the vulnerability etched into her features, and wondered sometimes if she had recovered, if she had reached someone who would care for her the way he had tried to, even briefly. The thought comforted him in an oddly peaceful way, as if his sacrifice had planted something invisible yet meaningful in the world. Yet what moved Ryan most was not the job, not the polished words or corporate assurance, but the realization that a simple pause in a sunlit street had carried far more weight than ambition ever could. He accepted, humbly, understanding that his choice had created a ripple that reshaped his future. And as he stepped out that evening into the golden glow of late afternoon, the city no longer felt like an enemy but a witness to the quiet power of compassion. Life began to change in gentle waves. His home transformed from a space of worry into one of hopeful structure, his mother's eyes softening each day as laughter replaced tension, and his own confidence evolving into something steady and deserving. Yet Ryan never lost sight of the reason behind his rise. Every time the sun climbed high and streets buzzed with restless urgency, he remembered the moment when he chose a stranger over success, and how that single breath of humanity carved a pathway he could never have imagined. As the months unfolded and his position grew, he found himself involved in outreach programs and social initiatives, driven by the memory of Mira's fragile moment and the silent courage that rose within him that very day. Their connection remained gentle, respectful, and grounded in the understanding that kindness had stitched their worlds together with quiet sincerity. No grand promises, no dramatic declarations, just a shared belief that compassion outshines power when the sun exposes truth. If this story stirred something within you, if it reminded you of a moment where your own kindness could have changed a life or your own path, take this moment to engage with this video, to like, share, and support Light of Kindness, because every single reaction helps spread stories that heal and inspire hearts across the world. Let your voice be part of a movement that values humanity over haste and empathy over self-interest. Special request: please comment your thoughts below and share how this story made you feel, because your words may become a light for someone else who needs hope. Rayan often returned to that sidewalk in quiet memory, where the sun shone relentlessly and the world rushed past without pausing. Yet he knew that compassion exists precisely in those fleeting seconds, where the heart chooses courage over convenience. He learned that success is not always the loud victory of ambition, but the soft echo of a single good deed that waits patiently to bloom. And as the city continued to pulse beneath the open sky, his story became a testament to the truth that kindness, when given freely, always finds its way home, whispering its grace into the soul of the world long after the moment has passed.